Are you guys ready for a super special secret update? I know I am. So remember how the last several weeks I've been saying, oh, I finally have a solution to fix players getting stuck underneath the elevator and getting crushed by the elevator at the bottom of the elevator shaft. It's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be really exciting. That's what this video is about. But there's also a couple other things we need to do, including fixing this meme in the spawn room. This isn't RuneScape. It just bothers me that it's not as close as possible to the original version. So I'm gonna fix that. By the way, if things are grouped and you want to select individual bricks instead of the whole group, you can hold down Alt and click them, and that's how you can do that. It's very handy. I use that all the time, even when I don't actually need to. Yeah. So now those circles look more like circles instead of ovals. So that's something that's fixed already. If you've been smarter than I've been for the past 6 or so years, you've probably figured out the best solution to fix the players getting stuck at the bottom of the elevator shaft is a basement. And you'd be correct. I am actually finally adding a basement. And some players have seen it before because that's where I accidentally added the spawn locations, and that's where you'd spawn for a very short time, like a couple hours or so. But I'm gonna spruce up the basement. I've already got kind of the general structure of some of it laid out. I don't know if I'll add more to it or not. So yeah, here we've got this kind of back rooms-ish kind of area. There's going to be some kind of lore behind the weird layout. Anyway, this area is more or less just a repeated version of this area. And the lore behind that is that Morrison Jr. Decided that he could save time by creating interchangeable floor plans, which are basically floor plans that he could repeat without having to draw new ones, which made the structure obviously very confusing, but it's the closest thing they had to copying and pasting in the 1950s. To spruce up the basement, I've got a list of several things we're going to do, but the first thing is we need to make shelving units, because shelving units are a crucial fundamental aspect of storage solutions, which is mainly what the basement was used for, was for storage. For example, in here we've got a bunch of extra wheelchairs in case one of them broke or something. Or in case they took more patients in. But thing is, I'm going to use Blender. I think this is the first time that you've actually seen me do any 3D modeling with Blender in this series, which is really cool. But I'm going to go on record now and say I'm terrible at 3D modeling. So here we are in Blender. We're starting off with the default sphere that it gives us. Or cube, not... My gosh, man, this is why I'm really bad at 3D modeling. I've got to get better at shapes. So I've turned on my face selection tool. I'm selecting the top, bottom surface, and 2 of the sides. And I'm just gonna go ahead and delete only the faces, so we're left with this. You know what? It's come to my attention, I should probably show you what I'm actually designing here. This is kind of what I'm making. It's the one with the kind of support bars on the corners that have those kind of keyhole shapes in, so you could adjust the height of the shelves. But I'm going to design just these corners because the shelves I think I can easily do just in Roblox Studio. That shouldn't be a problem, and that will allow us to make different heights for different shelves as well, and it also allow me to make them fall apart. So now that we've got this, I'm going to go to the modifiers and add a solidify, because as you can see we've got the basic shape of what will be the bottom of the corner beam. Where's solidify? There it is. I just woke up, but it's very flat, so we need to make it thick. Yeah, nice and thick. 0.20 or 0.2 M, whatever M stands for. No, let's go 18, because these are actually pretty flat in real life. So hit Control. I'll go to Object. Okay, Control A decided to start working again, I guess. So I've applied that modifier, and now I'm going to add another object, which is going to start out as a circle. There it is, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees that way, and probably make it quite a bit smaller as well, maybe even a little smaller. And I'll fill that gap so that it's solid, and it's not just an outline of a circle. It's so confusing. The y-axis in Roblox is up and down, like this. But that's the z-axis in Blender, and I use both software, and it's very confusing. But it would also be confusing if one of them decided to just change that one day. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and select probably all of these, and just drag those straight down like this. And then I'll select these again. I probably shouldn't have unselected them in the first place. So I've already got kind of the keyhole shape. Don't laugh. Yes, that's kind of what we're looking for. Maybe a little more like this, I guess. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. That kind of looks like those shapes. So now I'm going to make this thicker by using extrude. I don't actually need to use solidify modifier to do that. And I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this. So if you haven't figured out what we're doing, we're basically using these objects as cookie cutters to punch holes in this, but I think they should be smaller. That's probably good. So I'm gonna add some modifiers to this. They're both gonna be Boolean modifiers. Okay, look at that object, and it's going to use this object to understand how to cut a hole in this. So if I just hide this real quick, you can see it's cutting a hole in that because of that modifier. And then I'm going to do the same thing with another modifier that will look at this one. And now I can just apply both of these. And I don't think I really need these anymore, so I'm just going to get rid of them. So now we've got basically one of these, and I'm going to add yet again another modifier, which is going to be an array modifier. And it's going to basically just create a bunch of these. Let's make 40 of these. So now, just like that, we've created an array of all of those. So if we turn this down, as you can see, it's reducing how many there are. And if I turn this up, it's reducing the distance between them. That's how the array modifier works. So with that, I think we're basically done. If I kind of zoom out, you can kind of see these lines here. There we go. I'll just click the merge. I'll just tick the merge box and that'll fix that. I think that's basically it. I think that's all we really need to do here. 3D objects, Roblox meshes, there we go. Good to go. Shelf corner. I think that's as good a name as any. Now that we've done that, we can go back to Roblox Studio. I'm gonna make it brighter. Corner, shelf corner, there we go. That's not what I wanted. I was afraid of that. So we've hit the triangle limit, which is kind of strict, but we've only hit it by a little bit. So let's go back into Blender real quick. And let's bring this down to like 20 or something, and I'll just like stack them on top of each other in game. Okay, let's try it again. How is it still very large? Yes, please resize the mesh. Don't move it anywhere. Okay. My goodness. This is why I try to avoid using custom meshes. I know that's terrible practice because custom meshes are good. They make games look more professional, but they're such a pain to make because of all these little factors. But we have a shelf corner. Is it still solid, kind of? No, we're missing faces, aren't we? Yeah, we are kind of missing faces. All right. How do you fix that again? I can't even remember. Goodness, why did this have to be this way? All right, well, let's see if this works. Mesh. Normals, flip. Yes! Okay, so that will work. Normals, flip. There we go. Now I've got all my controls mixed up. Now I'm just gonna duplicate this and see if I can show you like an example of why I did what I just did. And for once, I actually need the mesh to be scaled up to do that. So as you can see, if we look inside this, you can actually see it has dimension to it. It's not flat. If we look inside this, as you can see, it is flat because the mesh was kind of, or parts of the mesh were inside out, and that's what was causing that, and that's what we just fixed. Very annoying, but we've got our shelf corner. Okay, we're 17 minutes in, and I've spent all my time on that. So that's what I should also add, because the height of these shelves will indicate that they will have needed ladders to actually access the things that were on the top shelf. So I should probably add some ladders here and there as well. I'll add that to my list. But I might model those off camera because that might take some time. In fact, I might model a lot of these things off camera, but some of these things I have already. Yay me. So now that we have this, I can basically just duplicate them like that and like that. And as you can see, we've got the framework for our shelves. I'm very excited. So yeah, it's all worth it in the end, and it's gonna look very nice. It's gonna look very nice indeed. Okay, so for the material, I can't decide between corroded metal and just normal metal. Which reminds me, I'm probably gonna, it's not gonna look quite this bland in the finished product. I'm probably gonna add some like rust streaks down on the ceiling. I'm probably gonna either figure out, if anyone knows like any resource where I can get free textures like that, without having to pay like a subscription fee or anything, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just try to figure out how to make my own. But I'm thinking like kind of a faded beige metal, something kind of like that. Maybe not quite that red, I guess. All right, there we go. So now I need to make the shelves. I'm kind of interested in how we're gonna be able to do this, but I think all we should really have to do, and I don't know if I'll go so far as to put the little like pegs for the shelves. I probably will, because I do want to start making things a lot more detailed than they were. For example, you can see this incredibly detailed valve right here. The shelves are the easy part because they're basically squares, and that's something that we can do just in Roblox. I'm gonna drag this over to my other monitor, and I'll make it the same. I know in my reference image it's not that beige color, but this is a more recent, more modern like shelf. It probably would have been that kind of beige color. I don't know. I wasn't alive in the 50s through 80s time period the asylum existed, so I don't know. I don't know what stuff should look like. And don't think I didn't try Googling 80s shelving unit. I did. This is why I need reference images. I think 0.05 studs is the magic increment because it just works with everything. I don't know what causes that or why that is, but it really does seem to be the case. That's my favorite increment. Another thing that's come to my attention is the kind of like corkboard texture of the shelving units, which is still common in fact today. So it's basically metal like frames, but stacked on top of that are like wooden. Does Roblox have a material already that could pass for that, or do I need to add a texture? That's the question that I have. All right, let's see what they've got. That's close-ish, but it still looks like asphalt instead of corkboard. No, well, maybe. I mean, I don't like that would be the same material as the walls, though. This is always an amusing process. Right on cue. Just have some grass shelves in there. That'll help. Then it'd look like they've planted stuff, or it'd look like it's overgrown. I think I'm just gonna have to get a corkboard texture from somewhere. I mean, I could just use wood for now. I might just do that, honestly. That doesn't look terrible. I guess I'll just stick with wood for now. These are where's my dummy at? I think these are way too, where am I going? And now that I mentioned it, now that I'm making these shelves, I could actually redesign these shelves or not even redesign, just copy and paste the ones from below and just make the shelves up there. I might do that because these shelves look a little bit dated. And in fact, they're one of the very few things in this room that does look dated. I take that back. Upon closer examination, I take that back. I just need a big detail update to make everything like look better. Oh, I've almost forgotten the purpose of me coming here. Where am I? How did I get here? What the heck? I feel like this asylum would be way more efficient if they just had like doors to connect places. Like if there's a door here and a hallway, it could connect them to here. But I think this part of the asylum wouldn't necessarily be designed for efficiency. It would be designed for security. Hence the reason why patients would be brought through patient transfer to go to the cafeteria so that one of them couldn't just sneak off. One thing I might also do is I might move the morgue down to some area of the basement. I might expand on the basement in the days and months to come and add like laundry room there, or because it makes more sense from like an architectural standpoint for the morgue to be in the basement. And if I do that, I'll put something else here. Like maybe I'll put the like static therapy room up here. If I have time, I'll go ahead and read my ideas off of my notebook for the static therapy. It's a very interesting bit of lore. Oh, the dummy, right. There's a reason I've been prescribed medication for my ADHD. Yeah, I think they're pretty much the height that I want because I want like 3 shelves. I want this to be like a 3 high shelf. I think it's slightly too deep. Just slightly though. It's not that deep. There we go. That's more reasonable. That's not what I want. That's not even what I put in, is it? I think it should be slightly lighter. Maybe less saturated, because it's worn, it's withered. Worn and withered wood loses its color. There we go. So now I'll go ahead and group these, and I'll just call this shelf, and I'm going to group all of this when we're done. And I think what I'll do is just go ahead and bring this up to the top. Ah, that looks lovely. Yes, very nice. You know, the thing is though, before I do that, I'm actually gonna patch this up a bit by ungrouping it, and I'm gonna duplicate this 3 times so I can drag this out. Hang on a second. 0.25 stud increments. There we go. So I'm basically making this more of a frame rather than a base, because that's more realistic to what it would be in real life. Ah, that's very nice. I actually very much like this. Would there be like a metal plate underneath supporting the corkboard? I feel like there probably would be. I should know. I used to work in a stockroom, but everything was metal back there. Because I didn't work in a stockroom in the like 80s and 50s and whenever they would have brought these in. I'm thinking there would probably be a metal base or metal plate to help support that corkboard. So I'm going to go ahead and make that. I don't think many people will care, but I kind of do. I want things to be as realistic as possible, because when things are realistic, they're also kind of more immersive in a way. But it's kind of interesting because not all games are more fun when they're more immersive. Like if you think of Minecraft, it's not that Minecraft isn't immersive, but it would be a lot more immersive with like more realistic graphics, but it might not be as fun that way. I sound like those classic Smosh videos. Could you imagine how stupid games would be if they were actually realistic? Bring back classic Smosh. It's not gonna happen, but we can dream and hope. It's come to my attention I actually missed a step I was planning because I got carried away with talking about immersion in games and all that. I'm gonna make these a union so that they're treated as one part rather than 5, and that will help to make the game perform a little bit better. Less technical strain that way, less things to load. There we are. And bring it up like the 3rd or 4th time. Maybe this time I'll realize I have everything I need. No, actually, there is something else. I should have been paying attention to this before, but I wasn't because I'm stupid. This should actually be like here, and this should be taller, which means I'm gonna have to read. Oh, they did make it so that unions have their own individual axes. When did that happen? That's exciting. That's exciting news. But what I'm gonna do is also add the little circles here. And I'll probably make those just another part of this. What I notice about this is if you look closely, there's pegs on these corners, which to me indicates that these would be very difficult to actually set up. So let's see. Cylinder, sure, we'll put that here. And of course these will be very tiny. Oh, that's not what I wanted to select. God, epilepsy warning. I apologize. I did say I wanted everything to be very detailed these days. I should make a video that's all about me learning how to use plugins and learning what plugins that I should make, because it's come to my attention that I could make my job a lot easier if I actually used them. But I don't know which ones I should invest my time in learning. I should make a video that's all about that. Like, it's not that I doubt they'd be helpful, it's that it's kind of a daunting thing to me because I've never really gotten into plugins. Yeah, I'm very impressed Roblox has improved their union technology so that making unions doesn't crash the whole of Roblox Studio like it used to. And there's a lot more occasions where you can actually make a union without it saying, oh, this isn't gonna work. You know? If anyone was around when unions first came out, oh man, they were so broken. But now they're actually very impressive. Alright, so now that we've finally got this, yay, now we can actually move it up and make all the shelves. Finally. I know I said I want it to be a 3 high, but I think a 4 high might actually be closer to what I want. I don't know, let's see. Where does that get us? Maybe even a 5 high. Now, does the top shelf count? You'll probably notice I'm being very careful to properly align these as well. Yeah, I think this is more like what I want. There. That looks pretty good, don't you think? 46 minutes later, we have our shelf. Some kind of paranormal event should happen here. My desktop tripod desperately needs quick release.